All right, so the offer is accepted. Go to the right. What do we do? Submit the contract to whom? The closing agent. The closing agent who will immediately do what? Check the title. We need to know that this title is clear and marketable before we get a buyer all hot and bothered over it. I don't even want to take it to my buyer's list until I know for sure I've got a marketable title. Now, the likelihood of that is high. But notice that this happens before we broadcast the deal to our buyer's list. If it's a bank-owned property, will the title have been cleared? Yes. If it's an individually owned property, could there be title issues? Yes. There could be. Should you expect that? No. You want to know what the most common title issue is that I've seen? And to call it common would be sort of like common among the rarity. Is the seller refinanced the house and the lender that was paid off neglected to provide a discharge of mortgage or satisfaction, and therefore it was never recorded. And so a look of the stream, the flow of title over the last few years shows that there are two mortgages on the house. The one that came in on the refi and the one that went out on the refi, and no discharge was ever recorded. That happens. What do you do? Whose problem is it? If your seller has a title problem, whose problem is it? The seller's. However, you might want to get involved and kind of keep the fire stoked because you want to get this house bought and sold. There's profit there for you. Well then, ride herd. But it's the seller's problem, and that's why we buy title insurance, so that if there's a title issue later, title insurance takes care of it. I strongly recommend you buy title insurance when you're flipping houses, even if you're going to own it for 5 minutes. It is just a good idea. So let's get that title checked. Get the contract to the closing agent immediately. If you're headed out of town for the weekend, send it before you go. Get it in their hands immediately. That's the attorney, the title company, the escrow company. They're going to do a preliminary title search to be sure it's clear and marketable. When we hear back that it is, we would like to get their opinion in writing, so that when it comes time to talk to the buyer about this house, especially in the case of an assignment, if they want to know if there's a clear and marketable title, we can whip out a letter or an email or a fax from the title company and say, here you go. This is, defer to higher authority. I'm not telling you the title's clear. The closing agent is telling you the title is clear. I'll tell you what, that will matter in assignments, and we'll come back to that, because with assignment we take a non-refundable deposit from our buyer. And the one objection that I hear to that is, what if there's a title problem? This is a non-refundable deposit. What if there's a title problem? And then you whip out that letter and you say, already got that checked. Give it. Okay. If it's bank-owned, the title will be cleared. By the way, there are cases where banks don't bring their properties to the MLS. They don't list the property for a while because they're busy clearing up a messy title. Oh, by the way, if you're buying from an individual and there's it shows two mortgages on the property because the discharge wasn't recorded 4 years ago when they refinanced it or whatever, that's obviously the seller's problem. What do they have to do to fix that? They got to go to the lender and get a discharge.